And it's 11:37. You're with Britain's Newsroom on GB News with Andrew Pearce and Pip Thompson, who's in for Bev Turner.
The Conservative Party's Deputy Chair for Women has been accused of making transphobic remarks about one of her election rivals.
So what she did, Rachel McLean, she shared a post on Twitter that described transgender person Melissa Poulton as a man who wears a wig and calls himself a proud lesbian. This is Bromsgrove's Green Party candidate, Melissa Poulton's response.
Without a shadow of a doubt, it is a transphobic comment. It's dog whistling at the finest, you know. It's gaslighting. It's everything. By attacking a minority group, it's just, it's a shit.
Well, in response to this, Rachel McLean said everyone in the UK should be free to live their lives and fulfil their potential regardless of their sex, sexual orientation or gender identity, and to have the confidence and the freedom to be themselves.
And then over the weekend on Twitter, she said, as Deputy Chairperson for Women, I'm clear that the law allows me to say what a woman is and the difference between a woman and a trans woman. Both deserve respect and freedom to live their lives, but it is not transphobic to say they are not the same thing. Well said, her.
Yes. Joining us now is human rights campaigner and director of the PeterTatchell Foundation, PeterTatchell. Good morning to you. Thanks for talking to us this morning. Is Rachel McLean right then in what she says here, Peter?
Well, first, let's just begin how this row began, because Melissa Poulton, the Green Party candidate in Bromsgrove, an election rival of Rachel McLean, she supported the 50-50 Parliament campaign, which is seeking to get more women into Parliament. So Melissa was actually trying to support women's rights and get more women MPs, which is a very honourable thing to do. That's how this whole row kicked off. And I'm really disappointed that, having stood up for women's rights, Rachel McLean saw fit to attack Melissa. That's not a good thing, not a good look at all. We need to, as she says, respect everybody regardless of sexual orientation, sex or gender identity.
Peter, how did she attack her?
Well, I think she said a remark that she said, I just quote, that people in her constituency knew that Melissa was a man wearing, wears a wig and calls himself a proud lesbian. I think that's what she said.
But why is that attacking her? Why is that attacking him? He is a man wearing a wig.
Well, it is misgendering. It is not fair, it's not decent, it's not right to go out of your way to, misgender someone and to attack their identity. Of course, Rachel McLean is entitled to her point of view. That's absolutely right. But I think, to respond in that way to an appeal by a trans woman to support women's rights, that's completely wrong. This was a good cause that Melissa Poulton was espousing, and Rachel McLean chose to move the dial away and attack Melissa personally. That's not right.
Was Rachel not saying what a lot of people were thinking, though? I mean, you've just kept calling Melissa she. I mean, we look at that video and they look like a man in a wig.
Well, there is a big distinction to be made between biological sex and gender identity. They are two different things. A trans woman is not the same as other women. They're different. But that difference is perfectly valid and reasonable. So, just because someone has a different gender identity, I don't think it's an excuse to basically mock and make fun of them. Let's focus on the issue that Melissa raised, which is getting more women into Parliament. That's what she raised. That's what she was fighting for. And it's wrong for her to be personally attacked because she took that honourable stand for women's rights.
All right, but that's PeterTatchell. Peter, thanks for joining us. That's PeterTatchell of the Human Rights Campaign. We've got in the studio with us Emma Wolfe again and Matthew Raza. I defend the right of this Tory deputy chairwoman to say this is a man in a wig. Now, Melissa may identify herself as a trans woman, but she's still a bloke.
I think that the Rachel's original tweet was a little provocative, and therefore maybe a little bit unwise. It is politics.
Rachel has taken it down, which suggests that she knows it was a bit provocative.
Yes, I think that her follow-up statement, which I think Peter and Rachel would agree, because Peter said a trans woman is a trans woman. It's different to a woman, but Peter actually said that very clearly there. So that's what Rachel said in her statement, and therefore we can all agree it's good to get more women in Parliament, and that presumably basically means bio women or cis women as the jargon has it. We can all back up, we can all rally around that cause. I think the original language was a little bit off colour, but she should have done a little bit better.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm not often speechless, but I am a little bit speechless on this one. I think we all defend the right to love who you like and dress how you like, and freedom of sexuality and freedom of gender identity. But I think Pip is absolutely right that a lot of people will be looking at Melissa Polton and saying, but that's a man in a wig. And I think it's very confusing, and it feels a bit like gaslighting when we're being told that's a woman and we can see that it's a man. And I think perhaps Rachel McLean's original tweet was a little bit on the personal side, but as you say, that's politics.
It's politics.
People attack each other all the time.
Yeah, and what have we got to treat certain people differently as candidates in general elections because of their sensitivities? Why?
It just makes you feel a bit crazy when you're being told that we all have to say this, and the evidence of your eyes is that's a man wearing a wig dressed as a woman. That's a man dressed up as a woman. And that's fine. People have done that for decades.
I think it's fine for the public to make up their minds, because obviously if you're putting yourself up for election, you're putting yourself up for the voters to decide about you. I mean, I'm not sure that Rachel would have, criticised somebody's glasses if they were, one of her political opponents, or attacked another kind of personal characteristic. But the electorate can make their own mind.
But is it criticism, what she said? Is it criticism, or was she just making an observation?
Well, it's criticism in the sense that Melissa would not identify as a man in a wig, and therefore it's a kind of personal attack. But it's absolutely for voters to make up their own minds as to who they want to vote for.
I'd like to know what people in Bromsgrove think. If any of you are watching or listening and you live in Bromsgrove, in Worcestershire, get in touch.
I know Bromsgrove very well because I used to work for the Birmingham Mail many centuries ago, and I've spent a lot of time working in the Bromsgrove office. It's very nice, very leafy. Sajid Javid is the outgoing MP there, and I suspect people will be bemused by this row in Bromsgrove.
Just the fact it's nice and leafy.
I'm just describing it because it's a suburb. It's a suburb of Birmingham, but it's a leafy suburb, and it's very nice. But I filmed there. Have you been there?
I filmed there, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think the people there will think?
Well, look, I think we'll find out when the election comes, because that's the ultimate test.
Yes, I suspect Melissa won't be the Tory MP, won't be the Green MP for Bromsgrove.
Yes, I think that is a prediction we can safely make. I wouldn't put money on her winning.
No, I'd put money. I'm going to put money on her not winning.
Well, I think Melissa has pivoted, hasn't she? Because she was a Tory.
Right.
She.
That's interesting.
She.
Yeah. How do you go from the Tory party to the Green party?
That's quite a journey.
That's quite a journey.
That's what I read.
Yes.
That's a leap.
It is a leap.
Yeah.
Shall I move us on?